Knowledge is power, and in the world of artificial intelligence, the source of that knowledge is increasingly becoming a regular battleground. With the European Commission's AI Office rolling out a draft template for data disclosures in AI model training, questions about transparency, copyright, and compliance loom larger than ever. If you are a business looking to exploit the power of artificial intelligence for your own business or to make it available to other businesses, or you are a rights holder concerned about protecting your content, this emerging framework could shape your future in ways we're only beginning to understand. Welcome to Diritto Digitale, the podcast where law, technology, and innovation converge. I'm Giulio Coraggio, your host, a technology and data lawyer at the global law firm Unveiled. This podcast is where we follow our passion of creating the law itself, bringing legal principles into uncharted territories that lawmakers never even dreamed of. Let's begin with a big picture scenario. The European Commission's AI Office just released a draft template requiring general-purpose AI model providers to disclose a sufficiently detailed summary of the data used to train their models. On the surface, it might sound like a procedural detail, but it's actually quite far-reaching. Why is this template so significant? It marks one of the first regulatory steps under the EU AI Act, aiming to bring transparency on how AI systems are trained, but it might open the door to massive disputes. Think about popular large language models or advanced image generators. They are often built on massive datasets, pulled from diverse sources, everything from articles and government databases to social media posts and copyrighted music or films. The new template compels providers to reveal not only how much data they use, but also the nature of that data. The requirement applies to every phase of the model's life cycle, from the initial pre-training steps to subsequent fine-tuning. That means that if a company starts with a large data set from the foundational model, then refines it using a specialized data set for, say, financial applications, details of how both sets would need to be disclosed, or at least to a degree considered sufficient by the European Commission. But let's dig deeper. According to the draft, the template covers several key elements. First of all, providers must break down how much data they use for text, images, audio, and video. It's not just about disclosing raw volume. They also need to specify the type of content, for example, distinguishing between ads, music, and movie clips. Secondly, if a dataset is massive, you can't just say, we use the internet. You need to list your major sources. And for the biggest contributors, provide even more detailed explanations. Rights holders, journalists, researchers, everyone is watching this aspect closely to see how thoroughly companies will disclose their data origins. Thirdly, the template also requires companies to explain how they processed or transformed copyrighted material in accordance with the EU Copyright Directive, specifically referencing text and data mining exemptions. It's a crucial point because it touches on how AI developers and the businesses that adopt their technology will handle intellectual property moving forward. The stated goal is to empower individuals or organizations with a legitimate interest to exercise their legal rights. That could include anyone from authors who suspect their works were used without permission to data subjects who want to know if their personal information was mined. It's a monumental step, but it also opens the door to a range of new questions and potential conflicts. Right holders are watching these developments like hawks. If AI model providers are required to state that they use, for example, thousands of snippets of music or film scripts, that's an immediate heads up to right holders that their content has been utilized, perhaps without explicit authorization. This obviously raises a series of critical questions. Does using copyrighted material for training on AI systems constitute infringement? What if the material was publicly available online? How does the text and data mining exception under the EU Copyright Directive apply in practice? For companies that develop AI, these questions aren't just academic. They could lead to real-world legal disputes and even large-scale class actions if rights holders band together. But here is the twist. It's not just about AI developers. Businesses that use AI systems or they're willing to use AI systems, such as a marketing firm leveraging AI-generated copies, or a streaming service employing AI for content recommendations, might also be implicated. If you are deploying an AI tool that was trained on copyrighted content without licensing, you could be subject to similar scrutiny. So, what's the possible escape route here? The text and data mining exception under the EU Copyright Directive could offer partial relief. This exception allows certain organizations, particularly those engaged in research, but even private companies, to mine data and text from copyrighted works without seeking explicit permissions under specific conditions. However, its scope is quite limited. It doesn't universally protect commercial entities or large-scale data processing for profit-driven applications. Moreover, if you fall under the TDM exception, you may still have to comply with other obligations. So a case-by-case analysis needs to be run in relation to the specifics of the case. In essence, the new template for data disclosures could make it far easier for rights holders to spot unauthorized uses of their content. This is precisely why the debate around the template is so heated. It's a war between the need for transparency and the desire to protect their secrets and minimize liability risks. So, where do we go from here? The draft template is still subject to consultation, and we can expect intense lobbying from both sides, those demanding rigorous transparency and those urging more flexibility. Let's have a look at a few possibilities. The European Commission's AI office might offer more specific guidelines on how much detail is required. Could they, for instance, allow aggregate disclosures or anonymized lists of sources to protect their secrets? That remains to be seen. Second option, some AI developers might choose not to adopt the final template if it remains a voluntary code of practice. However, the disclosure obligations is expressly provided under the EU AI Act. So we will have to see what approach the European Commission follows. We may see early legal battles set important precedents. For example, a right holder might file a lawsuit against an AI developer for using a specific body or work without permission. The outcome of such a case could shape how strictly courts interpret the disclosure obligations under the EU AI Act and the TDM exception. It's worth noting that the EU stance on AI governance often influences global policy trends. If the EU finalizes a detailed and possibly stringent disclosure framework, other jurisdictions like the UK, Canada, or certain US states might decide to follow suit or adopt their own approaches. Alternatively, they might distance themselves from the EU model to attract AI innovation. For companies, this means strategic planning is critical. If you are developing AI or even considering implementing AI solutions developed elsewhere, you'll want to track these regulatory changes closely. Contracts with vendors may need to include indemnifications or warranties about data provenance and compliance. Even marketing teams may have to rethink claims about the capabilities of AI tools, ensuring they don't inadvertently misrepresent compliance or licensing issues. The future of AI development in use in the EU is in flux, and data disclosure is quickly becoming the arena where legal battles are likely to unfold. Businesses need to get prepared, need to have contracts that are enough protective of their interests to avoid that the copyright breaches of the deployers become their breaches and can leave the two disputes against them, because any sort of company is going to go after the big fish. So any business that is using artificial intelligence, even developed by other parties, need to perform a detailed due diligence. And this is everything for today. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Digital. If you found today's discussion insightful, please subscribe, share, and join us next time as we explore the future of law and technology. I'm Giulio Coraggio, and this has been Digital.